Hi, I can't remember quite where I got to with this, but I know I've got off the struts. Not that I've got off them forever, but I think I got to the end of the UK tour and so beginning to talk about other things. One of the things that I discovered on the Struts UK tour, rediscovered, was Kyle Faulkner, the View guy. And we found out quite quickly, I think it was while the UK tour, while the Struts UK tour was on, we found out quite quickly that he was doing his own tour. And he was doing, I think he was doing 9 dates. There was Newcastle and Leeds and Bristol, London, Manchester, Birmingham, Liverpool, loads of places. One of my best strutter friends was coming over to do the whole lot from Laura, Laura from Seattle. And I booked tickets for some of them as well because I loved him. I loved the View when they were out first time, when they were around a while ago, although I've now realised that they were actually around till about 2 years ago. And I couldn't do that many. I think I booked 4. And just before the first one I was going to do, which was Sheffield, Laura got in contact with me and she was following them around and filming, taking pictures, and she said, would you do the merch? So I said, well, yeah, I'd love to. So I got there into Sheffield. It was a lovely old place called the Picture House Social. It's a massive, great big old cinema, Picture House, which is going to rack and ruin and is a bit derelict, but there's a big movement to try and get it up and running and off the ground again, and there's a gig venue in there. So I met Laura outside and I went to the pub, and one of Carl's band was in there, Sean, that I'd never met before, but we sat down and had a drink, the three of us, and had a chat. It was really nice. And Sean then said, well, we're going to do sound check in a minute. So I went in, sat at the back, watched the sound check, and Matt sung rather than Kyle, because Kyle wasn't actually there at the time. So Matt did the sound check. Matt is the manager, but Carl's manager, but also, apart from being a top guy, he's also got his own band called Brown Bear, who you need to check out. They've done 1 album. There's probably another one coming out soon, I think. So check them out because they're really good. Brown Bear, they're called. So he did the sound check, and I'd seen him on tour before with Kyle. I sort of said thumbs up to him, that's it. So Laura and I sorted out the merchandise, and I sold the merch that night. I didn't manage to sell that much, but it was really, really good fun. And the band were kind enough to say to me, well, why don't you come out for something to eat with us? So we went out for something to eat before the gig, and we all sat around, Kieran, Matt, Sean, Stevie, and it was lovely. It was really, really nice just to be able to sit there and chat to them. A really nice chat to Stevie about bands that I'd seen and all that sort of stuff. And got to watch the gig, which was interesting. It was fun. And then I did the same thing in Stoke and did the selling of the merch in Stoke. And then did the same thing in Manchester. The last date in Manchester actually coincided with a weekend that I had in Manchester, seeing Chris and Carol, two of my bestest strutter friends. So I went up to see them. We went to see The Darkness, got in for meet and greet, got on the stage, acquired lots of pics, got to the front. Justin threw a pic and it landed just there on my shoulder, so I got a Justin pic as well. And then we went to see Carl in the evening on the Sunday, and the best thing about it was the tickets for the whole tour hadn't sold that well. I'm not really sure why, because the guy's amazing. But then the Manchester gig was in a place called the Deaf Institute, and it was sold out. It was absolutely rammed. And I was selling the merch again, which was really nice to be involved, even if it was like 50, 100 quid a night I was managing to take. At least it was something, and it was really nice to be involved, and I managed to sort of help him with the equipment and all that. And Matt Peach and Emma Buckley were playing that night as well. It was great fun, and I have to say, a bit embarrassing, I got a little bit carried away, because when he got to the couple of last songs, he played a song called Grace, which he played on the tour, and I'd forgotten about it, and it was a massive favourite of mine, View Song. And by the time it got to the end of his tour, it was an all-time favourite thing, really. And he played it, and I abandoned my post and went into the mosh pit and jumped up and down and realised that I'm very old and out of condition because one song and I was finished. And it was great. It was really funny because I remember Sean looking down from the stage at me and just sort of going, rather like Adam did when he used to wear makeup at the Struts. He used to look at me in much the same way. But the best thing was having a connection with them, being able to spend a bit of time with them, and being able to get a little bit of behind the scenes, a bit of impromptu, unofficial roadieing, and a bit of merchandise selling. And I hope it helped. They were really, really nice and gracious and grateful, but I got so much out of it. It was brilliant fun. And if I could do that sort of thing again, I'd definitely do it. So yeah, that sort of brings me up to date, really. So hopefully the next thing I'm going to do is get an interview sorted. Now, I'm going to see, sorry Richard, I'm going to see King Nun a couple of times next week. In fact, it's not next week, it's the week afterwards. We're going for 3 dates. I'm hoping to interview them, even if it's a sort of sound interview, not a video one. And I've got a few more lined up as well. But that'll be the first one. So, yeah. Next time.